What's up, everybody? It's the Bipolar Prophet, and welcome back to Old Ridge Farm in Farming Simulator 15. So, you can see we're down here on the OEB meadow, the meadow that I plowed, spread manure on, plowed, subsoiled, I should say, plowed, power harrowed, and now I'm seeding. I did try to record the episode of me power harrowing. And the beginning of the seeding, unfortunately, Fraps decided to be Fraps and cut out every about 4 seconds. It was really laggy. It made a lot of files. It was tough. It would have been tough to stitch together. It was just awful. Raptor, the software that I use to normally record Farm Sim, which has worked flawlessly for over a year and a half now, has suddenly decided that it doesn't want to record Farm Sim at all, so I'm using OBS. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. Sometimes OBS can lag out, Farm Sim, it doesn't seem to be too bad right now, so we'll see how it goes. As you can see, I've already seeded about maybe half this field, and I apologize for not showing you guys that, and I apologize for not showing you guys the power harrowing of it, but I kind of needed to scrap that video because it was awful. And again, I don't mind putting up dumb videos, but the bad quality videos are starting to really annoy me, and I'm starting to be annoyed with the amount of trouble I'm having recording things lately. But anyway, so we're going to finish seeding this field. Now, I'm doing a couple things I don't normally do. One is seeding myself, because obviously a hired worker is not going to be able to do this field. It's too odd shaped. It's got hedges on either side of it, which they're not collidable, so it would happily drive through them. But I don't really have a lot else to do at the moment. So I figured, I'm going to do it myself. Also, I'm using ridge markers, because it's realistic. You would use ridge markers in real life, and I thought I'd give it a try. I don't think I've ever used a ridge marker in my entire life. I will say that the couple of passes that I've made, using the ridge markers has made it much easier. So, let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's jump in the cab, get the tractor fired up, get the brake off. As you can see, I'm planting soil mod grass, which is, what I wanted to do down here. Soil mod grass, obviously, it will not remove the field texture. It'll leave a field texture. The grass will grow up through it, and you'll get weeds. And I know, weeds, right? But it's realistic. So, you can see the fields are in pretty good shape. The N's up to 12, the PK's at 7, the soil moisture is really good. So I think this whole process is going to work. And obviously I'm going to do it with all my meadows, and not only my meadows, but the council meadows as well, as we go along through the year here. Okay, anyway, might as well get that turned on. We'll get some cruise control. I'm going to lower the cruise control a little bit, just because, so I can kind of focus on what I'm doing. That's really loud, though. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Apologize for the flashy screen. For some reason, my when you play on a laptop, sometimes your volume control serves as an actual button, and it can be, by default mapped to certain things. In Farm Sim, it's by default mapped to the change view button. So, okay. And I've just never bothered to go in and change it, in 2 years now, right? So it's funny. I was saying this yesterday in a video that I didn't, that you guys are unfortunately not going to see. This whole slowing this process down has been very, very good for me. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Now, again, I know that these videos are probably not, they're not exciting. It's Farm Sim. How exciting can they be, right? But it's fun for me because it lets me do things that I don't normally do. I've been playing this game for quite a while now, and I think it's time that I start doing some of the things that that I normally allow automation to do. I think, and I've said this over and over and over, that I rely too heavily on automation. So it's nice to be able to do stuff yourself. I will go a bit faster, though. I guess 4 is a little slow. I was just concerned that I wouldn't be able to keep up with keep the ridge marker sort of in the center of the hood, but I seem to be doing okay. So what I'm hoping is that I can get this done in this episode. Well, I will get it done in this episode regardless. And then, it's 12:27 in the afternoon. It's still the same day, obviously, and this will be the last part of this sort of mini-series of, the plowing the meadows, or plowing this meadow. And then we can move on to some of the other tasks. I have, like I keep saying, I have a ton of animals that need to be sold. I have muck that needs to be taken out. The pig and beef needs to be mucked out. So I'm all flummoxed again this afternoon. Go figure, right? Because I again decided I'd give Raptor a chance, to work, and it just didn't, and it was frustrating me, and and I was getting to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna not want to record anything. So you better figure out a way to record, and figure your life out. So I decided we're gonna use OBS. You know what? I may just use OBS for everything now. I'm tired of having multiple recording softwares, especially when they don't work. It's just silly. So I just want to play. I just want to make videos. I want to have a little fun, So hopefully this will all turn out okay. I'm curious to see what this grass is going to look like when it starts growing. Hopefully, I'm sure it'll be fine, and hopefully this will solve our meadow problems already. I mean, just by plowing the manure in, plowing the grass in, we got a huge N boost. Now I hope I can keep it up. That's my biggest thing, is being able to keep the N up. And I tend to not follow the soil mod workflow, as you guys know. Soil mod is designed to work a certain way. I tend to do things, I'll just do this, and I'll do this, and I'll do this. And that's how I run into trouble, I believe. That's how I get myself in trouble, If I followed the workflow correctly, I'd probably have a lot easier of a time. So, no, it did not put out the other, no, okay. I kind of wish I could map the individual ridge markers to buttons, but it doesn't really work that way. They're not coded that way, so. But yeah, I want to start following the soil mod workflow more, correctly, I guess, so that I'm actually, getting the benefit of the work that I'm doing. Because right now, I'm sort of just willy-nilly in it, and I'm not really getting a lot of benefit from it. So, and you can see the struggles that I'm having trying to keep N in meadows, and alkalinity problems in fields. So it's time to start doing things right. I'm trying to portray being a modern farmer, right? So modern farming would have the technology, would have the tools, the resources. Real farmers would use them, to maximize their yields, to maximize their profits and everything. So it's time that I do that too. I've also decided, I've sort of made a sort of snap decision here in the meantime, since I've started this, that I'm going to do, we're going to move from, sort of meadow to meadow to meadow here. Now, the thing is, I don't really want to do, I'm not going to do my meadows, and I don't really want to do the storage meadow, the meadow that I call the storage meadow up by the old storage yard, for the simple fact that I use those meadows quite a bit, and I'm going to need grass during the season. So, no, you come up. So I don't want to tear those up yet, but I may go do some of the other council meadows that I don't really use very often. I'm probably going to start really taking advantage of this council meadow, this grass use, and use as much of it as I possibly can. It just makes sense, That way I don't ever have to really plant fields that I would use for arable for meadows. So. You're probably going to start seeing me do more stuff too. Obviously, sort of, spring, field prep and harvest are a little difficult to do, to do one thing yourself, because I need the guys, I need Perry and Phil to be out, carting and cultivating and stuff. If I can cultivate more than one field at a time, I'm going to do it, because, it's just efficiency's sake, especially since this year I am most definitely going to buy another field. We didn't buy one last season. I definitely need one this season. I want to keep expanding the farm. So. I'm also pretty sure I'm going to expand the dairy. The next round of calves I'll probably keep. I think it just makes sense, Try to get the dairy up to 200, I think. I don't think I can really sustain any more than that, so. But 200 should be okay. I will say I'm pretty impressed with OBS at the moment. I'm only getting the occasional lag spike. It's not bad. Sometimes I think it depends on where I am on the map and what I'm doing. That OBS, because I've tried to do a bunch of test recordings with OBS and it hasn't gone particularly well. But I think it's really down to where I am on the map and what I'm actually doing. Like everything with the way that I record. It's just one of those things that because I don't have a supercomputer, because I don't have a ton of memory, and it's not so much memory, and it's not so much the processor, because those two in this computer are actually really good. It's just the fact that I don't have a ton of VRAM, you know, and when you're recording, you need a lot of VRAM, so video memory is what I'm talking about. I'm sure you guys all know that. You don't need me to explain that to you. But I am working on getting a new computer, or a more powerful computer, I should say. You know, and when that happens, it happens. And until then, we'll just muscle through with the way things are right now, I guess. I really need to stop driving on this field, though. I'm not doing it any favors driving on it. Now, obviously, in the game doesn't care. But for my own personal sort of, you know, sanity, I don't want to keep driving on the field. So, how am I going to do this without driving on the field? I'm either going to go through a hedge or I'm going to drive on a field. That's why you leave a headland, BP. That's why you leave a headland. Oop, hedge. Okay. Nope. You, and you. So it's May now, getting real close to the 2-year anniversary. Well, I mean, real close, a couple months, but you know, something I need to start thinking about. The 2-year anniversary of Bipolar Profit Gaming. Hard to believe, huh? You know, it's hard. It's hard for me to believe that I've been doing this for 2 years. You know, because of the fact that when I first started making videos, and they were awful. You know, if you guys go way back, you know, in the beginning, sort of my videos, the quality was bad, the sound was bad. I sounded like I was sleeping most of the time, you know. I don't know if I was nervous or if I was just trying to be quiet, if I was trying to have a radio voice, you know, or some silliness like that. Some stuff that, you know, whoop, I had the right one. Some stuff that didn't, you know, that I thought mattered, that didn't matter, you know. And it's funny to watch the evolution of the videos over that time. Now, I've said this over and over and over again. Bipolar Profit Gaming wouldn't be where it is without, you know, people like the Scottish Gaming Guy, without TCGG Rob, without, you know, OEB, and now without my, you know, my friends Shawnee B and Reefy, you know, Mirrorman. Without them, you know, the channel wouldn't be where it is. The channel would not be where it is without all of you guys. You know, I cannot overstate how important that is to me. That you guys, you know, consistently come, watch videos, you know, hang out, talk to me, you know, give me tips and suggestions and inspiration for things, you know what I mean? And it really, oops, all the way through the hedge. It really means a lot to me that you guys enjoy this series so much, you know. And that's down to you guys as well, because, you know, all you guys who've gotten involved in this story, all you guys who, you know, who like to, who role play this along with me, you know, that means a ton to me. So I really, really want Old Ridge to continue. I think Old Ridge, and I was thinking about this the other day, I think and I've said this before, but Old Ridge has become its own world, right? Its own place. And I want it to continue. I really see Old Ridge being on my channel for as long as I have a channel. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I'm seeing it now. I'm kind of seeing it as a persistent world that needs to continue, you know? I would imagine there's always going to be Old Ridge on the channel. And again, you guys can always tell me, you know, okay, BP, you've been on Old Ridge for over a year now, because it has been over a year. You know, and maybe we don't want to see it anymore. But to be honest, I don't know. You know, I guess if enough people said that, I would certainly listen, because I want to make videos you guys want to watch, obviously. But I cannot overstate how much fun it is to play on this map, how realistic it feels, and how it feels like home. It's just that simple. You know, in Old Ridge news, we've got the council election coming up. Obviously, for me, it's still the same day. If you guys have been watching Reefy's videos, you know, he's been socked in with rain over there on his side of the valley. I've actually talked to him a couple times, you know, today, and he's like, it's still raining over here, and I can't really do anything, you know. Rain tends to move from his end of the valley to mine very slowly, you know. So it may rain here in a couple of days. It tends to get over on his side of the valley. My side of the valley is a little bit hillier, So it tends to get on his side of the valley and kind of hang out, you know, before it builds up enough energy to climb the hills. So. So we'll probably get some rain, which is good. I mean, the soil moisture in all my fields are pretty good because we did have rain a few days ago. But I'll take all we can get. You know, if I don't have to water anything, if I don't have to irrigate anything, that's fantastic. That'll be great. You know, because obviously we're still sort of in a drought condition in the fact that, you know, we haven't the environmentalists and the people who make the decisions about, you know, water use and things are still sort of thinking that we don't have enough water in the ground for just unrestricted irrigation. And I can understand that, you know, but we're definitely getting there, you know. I would imagine they'll be lifting the water restrictions on Mike's end of the valley anytime now, so because he's had a lot of rain up there. So it doesn't always make it up. It doesn't always make it from his end to my end, because it does get stuck on the hills sometimes. Dumps all its, you know, energy right there, and then by the time it gets to me, it's just clouds. Sometimes the weather comes from the other direction, from the south, and I get all the rain and he doesn't get any. So even though we're not that far apart, you know, the weather systems can be completely different just because of the topography, there's a big word, of the area. Trying to just stay on the very edge of this field. A couple more passes here, and we'll be done with this. So. And then I'm wondering if I shouldn't spray some herbicide right away on this. I don't really want to do that for the simple fact that I'd rather not. If I don't have to do it, I don't want to do it. But it may not be a bad idea. But I think I'll wait until we actually see until I have some indication of weeds. I don't need to put anything else on this. I don't need to put PK on it. Certainly don't need to put N on it. Thankfully, I cannot tell you what a relief it is to see some N in these fields. I should probably go feed my animals too. They're down to just silage now over there, so I need to give them some food. So maybe what we'll do is we'll finish seeding this, and we'll go feed the animals, and then in the next episode we'll be mucking out the animals, or actually we should be selling them first, and then mucking them out, and then they will need to be fed too. Oh, I thought I lifted that. Whoops. So I dragged that all the way around without lifting it. You big doofus. You can see the spots I missed, you know, when I plowed, but that's okay. I'm not really worried about that. That will fill in with the other grass, so not going to be a big deal. My biggest concern is that this is, you know, good, solid, productive grass. It's the bottom line. You know, I got to have it. I'm going to have a big dairy. I've got a big, you know, animal operation over here, so I need the grass to sustain them. One thing I would like to see in this game is, and I don't know if I've ever said this before, but one thing I'd really like to see is when cows are out in a meadow, right? When they're in a pasture, they're eating constantly, right? Obviously, you know, a dairy cow is a big animal. It requires a lot of food to, you know, to sustain itself. What I would like to see in the game is that when they're out in the pastures and they're eating, that actually provides some sort of nutrient benefit for them, you know? That they're actually eating, you know, the grass, instead of it just being a sort of, well, you know, the cow's in a meadow, whatever, right? I'd really like to see when, you know, if a cow is out in a meadow for, you know, 10 hours or whatever, well, it's going to eat quite a bit of food, right? So not only would it sort of, you know, maybe lower the grass to a you know, to maybe stage 1 or stage 2 or whatever, but it would also fill the cow up, right? The cow would actually be eating stuff. Now, I don't know how they'd work that in as a game mechanic, but it would be cool because then it would sort of take some of the pressure off of having to feed them TMR all the time, right? Because normally, and I don't know this for a fact, but it seems to me that, you know, most cows are eating, you know, grass all day out in a meadow somewhere, if you pasture your animals, that is. And the only time they're eating TMR is either in the winter or when they're in for the night, you know? So, I don't know. It'd be something I'd like to see in the game, I guess. I made a bit of a mess of this headland. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, it looks like. Try not to drive into the tree. Probably if you look behind you, maybe it would help. Made a bit of a mess of this. Just going to do this bit out of the cab so I can actually see what I'm doing. I think because of the way that I turned around at the end is why it ends up looking like this. Oh, excuse me. Like, oh no, I was going to say like I said in the last episode, but I don't know that I did. I don't remember. It's been raining here in good old New England in the real world for a very long time, for over a week now. So, you know, it's funny. We're not going to have a drought over here. I planted a bunch of flowers and stuff. Whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I planted a bunch of flowers not too long ago. And to be honest, you know, it's okay because they can certainly use the rain. But I would like to see a little bit of sun. I have grass I have to mow, you know, in my yard and stuff. So, but the upshot of all the rain is it's knocked down all the pollen and the bits that fly off of all the stuff that's growing. So my sinuses feel a lot better. I don't know if you can tell it in my voice or not, but my voice is not quite as nasally as it has been recently, so. I always leave myself with the weirdest bits to have to come in and fill in. And then, of course, I have to run over it, which is always fun, but okay, you know, again, not much I can do about that. So I do believe the other end is all set, because the other end just sort of tapers down to almost nothing. So I think this will be the only bit I really have to come in and clean up. All right. Will that do it, I think? Will that do it? No, I might as well get this bit up here. I mean, no point in having bare patches in the field after all this work. All right. That will do. Now get off the field. Turn that off. And we'll just run up here and make sure that this bit is okay. Let's go back in the cab. Yeah, I have no real interest in messing with these trees. You know, I can't cut them down, so I wasn't really worried about going all the way to the edge of the hedge. Now, you know, in real life, would you probably weave in and out of the trees to get the grass? Sure, you would. But in the game, if I need, say I need, you know, one of my guys to come over here and do this, you know, if I have him zigzagging in and out, that's just a recipe for disaster. So I'm not going to do it. Oh, I missed a bit. Back up a little bit. There we go. Turn that on. Not to drive into the plow or into the... There we go. That will do. Okay. So, might as well run this back to the main farm. I need to get the case back to the big case back to the main farm too, which means I'm going to have to walk back over here. So that's done. So the OEB meadow has been, you know, subsoiled, manured, plowed, power harrowed, and now seeded. And hopefully that will solve all the grass problems and we'll be good to go come the fall when that grass is. We might get one cut on it this year. You know, maybe two, depending on how the weather is and everything. You know, and that'll be fantastic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go drop this off, and then we'll go up and we'll feed my dairy cows. And we'll not drive into the cultivator. Yeah, we'll feed our dairy cows, and then we'll call this an episode. And in the next episode, we will be selling animals. And I can tell you right now that that's going to be a lot of trips back and forth because I have a lot of animals. So that'll be an episode in and of itself. And then we'll probably be mucking out. And then we'll probably call that this day. And we'll move on to the next day, I think. I think that'll be everything that kind of needs to be done in this day. So unless something comes up between now and then that that I discover that needs to be done. So always my favorite bit, backing this thing in. Trying to do it like a big boy, although with my 360-degree swivel head, that comes in handy. Anyway, that'll do. Lower that. Cut it off. Jump back in the front view. And we will run over to the dairy and get hooked up to the mix wagon and feed our animals. Oh, it's always, it's funny. Every day I have to, well, obviously I spend a great deal of time at the dairy, but I've been spending a great deal of time staring down at that manure pit lately. my slurry pit, because it's always right at the edge of being full now. And obviously if I get any more cows, it's going to require me to build some sort of additional slurry storage. So I think tomorrow I will be calling around to the various agricultural suppliers and see what it's going to cost me to get a permanent tank built. Or a basin, I should say. I don't want another pit. I don't want somebody to come out and dig a big pit and have to line it and all that. What I really want is somebody to come out with the the modular components. I'll lay a foundation, and they can come out with the tank, and the liner and the pump and all that. And hopefully that won't cost a ridiculous amount of money. So that's something I got to do tomorrow. I also have to call Chad tomorrow about the Kloss. And find out about a loaner or a demo if I can get something, to replace the Kloss with, if I need to, if it's something that the Kloss guys can't fix right away. Which the more we talk about it, the more it seems like that's going to be the case. I don't know how they would strip the whole front end of that tractor down in my yard. Maybe they could. I don't know. I'm sure they have the tools to do it, whether they have the inclination to do it, whether they feel it'd be easier to do it at their place, and however they need to do it is fine, just so long as I get it back at some point. Oh, good parking job, BP. Parked it right on top of your baler. That's good for it. I just realized I drove all the way over here without my beacons on. Turn them on now that you're in the yard, though. Good idea. How do I not get tickets? How do I not get tickets? All right, ladies. Going to make you guys some food. Park you right there. Set the brake. Got the bucket on from when we were moving the manure into the manure spreader, so I might as well get the silage first. Turn your beacon on so that people know that there's something moving in the yard. Going through the silage pretty good, which is awesome. That's what I wanted, I don't want any. I would rather not have any leftover silage come the end of the year, because this first batch of corn is probably going to go to the BGA, and then the second batch will be for me. So you're going to get some lag right here because of this silly tree. I keep forgetting to move it. I basically just cut it down and left it there. You know BP, right? Don't do anything about it until you absolutely have to. That's sort of my motto. And a tree laying there is not really a major concern of mine right now, so. There we go. Get some silage in there, switch over to the forks, and grab a straw and a hay bale. Get these guys fed. We'll call this an episode. And then prepare yourself for the always massively exciting driving back and forth between the animal facilities and the slaughterhouse. But it'll be good to make some money, so. I will actually call them first thing. No, actually, I will call them after we're done with this, actually, and I will see if they can accept all of them. They may have a limit of how many they can take, you know. Depends on if they've got any in their pens over there or not. So we will find out. Yes. Nope. Yes, thank you. And of course that shuts it off. That's fine. Now, I need this for a minute. Do I have automatic loading on? I do. Oh, you know what I need to do, though? I need to use these bales first, because these are a little bit older than the bales that are over there. So we will disable automatic loading, so I can just grab one. Or none, because I'm an idiot, and I don't have the forks in the right position. Always, it's a little tricky right here because of the way this shed is, and I should be doing this in the cab, then I wouldn't have that problem, right? There we go. So if we jump in the cab now, and try not to drive into anything. This I'm going to have to do from outside because I just, for me, I cannot see up the top of this telehandler. I mean, it has great visibility, but not for me. Still not using your joystick, huh? BP? No, no, God, no. Who does that? Turn. Oh, no, I'm an idiot, and I parked these right in front of... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab these bales and get them out of the way. Because I parked them right in front of my straw. So, because obviously you want to rotate, you know, if you've got bales that are, a month older than the bales you're putting in, you want to make sure you use the older ones first, obviously, so. There we go. At some point, I'd love to fill this shed up. I just don't have access to that much grass. I'm going to need to, though. Gonna need to do it at some point. It may come down to me having to plant a couple of fields of just grass, so that I always have enough bales. I get real close to running out, every year. So, obviously you get your first cut, and then you go through that, and then you get your second cut. If you're lucky, you get a third or a fourth cut. And then you got to get through your winter, and I get real close to running out every year, so. Ooh, that's good for them. That's good for it, BP. Back it right into the wall. I mean, you're still paying for this thing. I'm still paying for all of this, actually. There's only a couple of pieces of equipment on this farm that I actually own outright. There we go. Very good. Fold those up. Shut it off. Turn the beacon off. And we'll feed the girls. And then that will be that for this episode. Here you go, ladies. I know you like that silage, but you're going to get some TMR, too. Because I need the milk. So, and that's that. Turn around, put some on the other trough, and that will be that. See, now I think it would be neat if you look at sort of the soil conditions of this pasture here where they're eating. It would be neat if you had to come out here, spread some manure or maybe work the meadows a little bit, so that they had good grass to eat while they're out in pasture, and it would make I think it would make a viable difference in their diet, in their production, And I don't know if that's something that the game developers are looking at. I don't know if that's something Giants is looking at, if it's something they're thinking about or whatever, or maybe it's something that some of these other farm game developers are looking at now, which would be awesome. That would be very, very cool. I just realized I did not take a screenshot. Well, guess what? We're going to get another screenshot of the case hooked up to the mix wagon because I didn't take one. I forgot. So let me just get rid of all of this stuff now, and we'll take a screenshot. There we go. I always like this. I'm such a huge fan of the dairy. I could easily spend all my time at the dairy without having any issue about it whatsoever. But so there you go, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And again, I apologize for not showing you the whole process of the power harrowing and the beginning of the seating. But just Fraps was not cooperating. It was being a massive pain in the butt. And I just couldn't put the video up. It was too bad. But at least we got to see this. So, again, make sure you guys let me know what you think. Anything you guys want to talk about, any comments, any questions, anything like that, you can leave them in the comments of the videos. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can hit me up on Steam. You can hit me up on, Facebook, any of that. Make sure you check all that stuff out. The links of all of that are in the description of every video. Also, make sure to check out everybody on the Monkey Show approved list. They're all my friends. They're all great YouTubers. They make great content of various games, and they're definitely worth a check and a subscription. As always, thank you for coming to the channel, for subscribing, for liking, for commenting, for being my friends. That's why I do this. Even on the bad days when everything, externally, technically is going wrong, it's still fun to make videos for you guys, because not only for you guys, but for me as well. But the fact that you guys enjoy it so much makes me want to do it even more. And as always, guys, thanks so much for making me a part of your YouTube day. And this is the Bipolar Prophet saying, see you later.